Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Bladesinging wizard multiclass with the Shadow Magic Sorcerer in Baldur's Gate 3's patch 8. Now, why this is powerful, you still retain your full spellcasting level so you can learn spells from scrolls, you get 2 attacks, and you get the ability to hide out in darkness and be able to cast from it or attack in it. So you got multiple defensive and offensive abilities here. This is actually a very powerful multiclass. Now, we're going to start off with the Sorcerer because this will give us Constitution saving throw proficiency to help us with holding our concentration, and typically we want to hold it on darkness, but I'll be getting into that. We also get the dog, so yeah, that's awesome. Now, for our ability scores, this is multi-attribute dependent, so I think that the best thing to do is actually to dump our dexterity here. So we're going to go with the low dexterity because you can get the dexterity gauntlets in Act 1, which will set our dexterity to 18, so that is kind of an essential, or you can dump your Constitution and go with a lower Constitution, but I think this works best because at least with the higher dexterity, we can use finesse weapons and hit quite hard with them. And we're going 16 intelligence and charisma and 10 wisdom, 14 constitution, and 10 strength there. So yeah, you can also late game dump your constitution with the constitution amulet if you wanted to, but I'll be covering the full build guide, combat, and gear options in this video. So I guess into level 2, we're just going to get our meta magics here with distance spell and twin spell. Twin spell is awesome because we can twin haste, or distance spell is great for increasing the range if we want to hit someone with magic missile. Now early game, I think Thunderwave is one of the best bang for our buck spells, so we're going to grab that there. At level 3, we get ourselves Quicken spell, which is super useful, and we get level 2 spells. Now early game, Scorching Ray is nice, but Hold Person is also quite useful. It holds enemies still and they can't move, act, or react, and you get critical hits on attacks, which is going to be useful later on. We're going to grab that there, although Misty Step's another good consideration you can go with. Now at next level, we'll take another cantrip, Firebolt, for exploding anything, and Misty Step or Scorching Ray is going to be your best bet for damage. I'm also really a big fan of Shadow Blade because this can be probably the most offensive weapon in the game. So that's another really effective one, but you can wait and take it with the wizard a little bit later on. So for our next level, we'll take a Misty Step there just because it's useful for survivability. And for this, we're going to take up our charisma to 18. As we do have split spell casting. It's a little bit unfortunate, but we can mitigate that by using specific gear. Level 5, we get ourselves another spell here, and this gives us options like haste, fireball, and lightning bolt. Take your personal preference. Counterspell is also a really good option, but fireball is my favorite. I also like lightning bolt quite a bit, which we'll take at our next level here. At level 6, we get our Hound of Ill Omen, some of course the creature of darkness, the good dog. So this can help out because it can hide out in darkness alongside us. Also at level 3, I forgot to mention, you get the Eyes of the Darkness, which is a very effective spell that allows us to camp out. Now we're going to go with our lightning bolt spell there. So that's going to be a big focus of this. Is we got, I guess I should show the Eyes of the Dark. This is a really effective thing. It uses 2 sorcery points, but with this you can hide out in it, and creatures cannot make ranged attacks in or out of it, but this gives you blind immunity, basically dark vision, so you can see within him. Now we're going to multi-class at this point because for the Bladesinging wizard, it gets its extra attack at level 6, so we got to go with the 6/6 split. For cantrips, take the remaining ones that you don't already have. I always want to have Booming Blade there. We'll take Toll the Dead and Poison Spray because I guess, yeah, that covers pretty much everything there. You can also take Friends if you're the face of the party. Now for spells, there's a couple of really nice ones that we do want to get, like Find Familiar, which we can't get normally. We already have the spell Shield, which oddly it's not showing. Long Strider is also quite nice to have. And Mage Armor is okay, but we do get light armor proficiency, which we're going to use with the Ballast Armor there. And on top of all of this, we can go with something like the Expeditious Retreat. Chromatic Orb is also not a bad spell to grab. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is another okay one you could roll with, or Burning Hands. There's a lot of options. We already have a lot of these spells. The thing is, with the Sorcerer spell list, you're likely going to be taking spells from scrolls for this. So we could go with like an Enhanced Sleep and False Life. There's nothing super dire that we do need to take, but Long Strider and Find Familiar is nice because they're ritual spells. At level 2 here, we get to choose our subclass. We're going to go Bladesinging, which lets us invoke the Blade Song. We also get light armor proficiency, and that's a Blade Song there, which gives a +2 to armor class. And we get to take a couple more spells. Let's take Shield there, why not? And Grease. We also can grab like Fog Cloud, but you can always learn things from spells. And we'll take a Rapier for the weapon, and for the spell that we'll take, I guess Grease is another nice one to have. And once we get ourselves a level 3, this lets us take some more spells that we haven't taken previously, like Scorching Ray and the Mirror Image spell. So we're going to prepare the Scorching Ray, and I guess the Mirror Image is nice to have too, because that gives a +9 to our armor class. Into level 4 to Sorcerer, we get our Wizard, we get another spell selection, and we get 2 more level 2 spells. So we can go with like the clouded daggers there as well. Invisibility is an okay option, but again, Shadow Blade, bonus action, and we can upcast this to level 5 to give ourselves an even more powerful Shadow Blade. And I'll show you a cool little trick to getting it. Now we're going to take our intelligence up to 18 at this point. This will let us prepare another wizard spell too. And with this, we get another Bladesong power, which is the resource we use for that. And we can take like our counterspell and haste spells here. Now we're going to be, again, preparing spells from scrolls. So we're going to want to accumulate as many scrolls as you can. At level 6, we get the extra attack. So now we get an extra attack and a doggo. And we can take 2 more level 3 spells. We can take like the Glyph of Warding and the Fear spells. So then we can swap off some of the spells that we may not be using as frequently. And we'll end up with something like, I guess we'll keep this and then we'll remove False Life, put that. So there's our spells. But again, we're going to be learning them from scrolls, and that's going to be the most effective way to go about doing this. You can see we still got our full spell casting levels, so that's very nice. So with this, our Bladesong will actually give us a +3 to our armor class, which is very nice. But for gear, we're going to want to roll with the Duelist Prerogative. This lets us do 2 counter spells per turn, and if we have our offhand empty, we get that extra reaction for the counter spell, but we get an increased critical hit chance, and we can use the Withering Cut to finish off enemies, and we get a bonus action attack, so we can attack 3 times per turn. As mentioned, Gloves of Dexterity, but you can also use the Gloves of the Battle Mage's Power, as this now works with patch 8. And I've got the Evasive Shoes on here, but you can also go with something like the Boots of Stormy Clamor to stack up Reverberation stacks. I got the Ballast Armor because enemies within 3 meters become vulnerable to piercing damage, so that you can hit them with Duelist Prerogative, dealing double damage. This is a late game option. There is a cheesy way to get it as well. You could also go with something like another light armor choice, or even robes if you wanted to, and use mage armor. I also got the Cloak Protection there, and the Birthright Hat for a +2 to charisma. However, Helmet of Arcane Acuity. When you deal attack weapon damage with a melee attack, you gain Arcane Acuity for 2 turns. This will give us basically like a +2 to our spell save DC and spell attack rolls every time we do a melee attack. So we do 3 attacks as a +6 to our spell save DC, which is currently 16 or 16 either each, which will boost heavily by the Arcane Acuity there. I also got the Killer Sweetheart there for a free crit on the attack, and the Ring of Protection and Amulet of Greater Health. And for the bow, the Long Rider, Hell Rider Longbow works pretty decent because it'll just give you a +3 to initiative, although we don't have proficiency for it, that's okay. We're using it for the bonuses anyway. Now, you can also go with any type of rapier mid-game. Even the Infernal Rapier, which will use your spellcasting modifier and give you a bonus to your spell save DC, can also be quite nice. So this will, instead of dexterity, which is going to be the same as our charisma, give us a boost to our stats there. But I think the Duelist Prerogative works well. Early game, just use whatever rapier that you're able to find, or scimitar that you can find. Even Jaheira's scimitar works well. You could also alternatively dump your intelligence and learn, use the Warped Headband of Intelligence. Now, we also want to be learning scrolls. So we got like a scroll of Oluk's Freezing Sphere there. We're also going to be grabbing like, typically in Act 3, there's a lot of great ones. So you can get a scroll of Chain Lightning, which we can learn, a scroll of Cone of Cold, which we'll learn, and Artistry of War, which is a very effective spell, which you can get in Act 3. So for our wizard prepared spells, now we can swap some of them around because we're going to be using like Shadow Blade there. We typically, now we have the Duelist Prerogative, but using Shadow Blade is going to be more damage. So that's what I'll recommend, but I'll show you a little trick that we can also use with that. So we're going to apply like Cone of Cold, the Artistry of War, which is only per short rest, but it does a 12d6 plus 36 force damage, which is quite a bit. And then on top of that, we can also find Familiar's nice, but it's not going to be that effective late game. And then we can also swap off like Oluk's Freezing Sphere and take the Chain Lightning there. So now we got a bunch of very powerful spells since we have high spellcasting levels. So what's cool about this is we can actually go ahead and take like the, take a different weapon like Markaheshker, for example, which gives us a free cast. And with that free cast, we're going to use that Arcane Battery and take Shadow Blade, and we can upcast that to the max level, or level 5 basically. So we get a free casting of that, and then it creates it into a Shadow Blade on our back. So then we now have this weapon, which does 4d8 plus 8 psychic damage, making it an insanely damaging weapon, because this will be doubled if you have the Resonant Stone. So that we can make this pretty much OP. Now I'll show you what this ends up looking like in combat. And when we know we're getting ourselves into combat, I would recommend starting off first with invoking the Bladesong, or I guess first getting the Hound of Ill Omens. We can summon in our doggo there. We only get 6 sorcery points, so we do have to be mindful of how we use them, because we don't have a whole lot of them, but this dog can actually see in darkness too, so that's really nice. We could also use the Arcane Recovery to recover any spell slots that we may use. We got our Bladesong power, so we're going to invoke the Bladesong, which will increase our armor class by 3, which gives us a nice 25 there, which is not bad. We could also get 26 if we use the Evasive Shoes as well. And then what we want to be doing in terms of what to do for combat. So We got our blade song up. We want to apply darkness and the eyes of the darkness in particular, because with that we can actually hide out and not have to worry about anyone hitting us with any type of spell. So there's a couple people that just appeared in front of me. So we're gonna pop down our darkness here. This is gonna be kind of our way of hiding out and camping with. So I guess what's funny is if you're in darkness, you can go around assassinating people and they actually don't know. So we can go ahead, attack this target, which will likely get taken out. 66 damage. And we finally started combat. So now we're just gonna, what we're gonna do is, since we have Booming Blade as a cantrip, this becomes very powerful. So this will likely take them out. We get advantage because we're obscured, and we did 44, 54, a lot of damage. So we got our first attack off. Now we can, what's funny is they're completely unaware of this, because what's nice about darkness is it cuts line of sight. So we could literally just go ahead and attack this target here and take them out, doing 56 damage on that. And then go back into our darkness and we regain all of our actions. So anytime you know you're getting into a fight and you can apply and go about doing like those attacks there, that's going to be the most effective way to doing it. So we'll go with Booming Blade here, which will likely take out this target. 58 and 11 damage. Crazy damage potential on this. So we got our high initiative there with the Hellrider Longbow. We regain and can do our Booming Blade again and critically miss with Booming Blade, of course. But we attack with advantage because of this. So that did 88 damage on an attack. Absolutely absurd the amount of damage that we can do. And the nice part about this is our we got a good bonus action with Misty Step as well, and we can also use the Blade Song Climax to be able to heal ourselves too. So we got our darkness there. We also got a +10 to Arcane Acuity, which is crazy. So just going around with those melee attacks, we got a massive boost to our overall spell casting. So you can see we now have 26 from that +10. So they have to roll a 26 to be able to resist a spell, which is huge. So we're hard to hit as well, which is nice. Anytime that we're surrounded like this, the best thing that we likely are able to do is a Booming Blade combo into just a weapon attack. Anytime they're close by, we're going to be dealing a ton of damage. You can see there 96 on that attack. That's not even mentioning the Booming Blade. If we run away from them because we're in darkness and they can't attack us, it's going to hit hard. 92 on that attack as well. This is seriously strong. And the other nice thing about this is we also can cast spells like the Artistry of War here. So we got a lot of different spells that we can use. Oh, we lost our one time that we could use it for short rest. That's unfortunate, but we also got darkness, so we can kite enemies around with it. And since we're in our darkness and immune to it, they can't really do anything about that. Now we got a couple options. Since there's a group of enemies here, we could go ahead with dropping a fireball, because that's still going to be one of the best damage options that we got until we get counterspelled like that. Because things like that are super effective. We also got ourselves the very powerful Chain Lightning, which we can also drop on a target like that. That's going to be attacking. Crazy what we can do with that. And we got Blade Song charges built up from that too. Anytime we're in a one-on-one situation, we can also just go ahead with attack. We also got Nimbus here who can go ahead and bite too. He's got the Ominous Bite or the Umbral Tangle that he can do. And when you attack with that, broken concentration, you can apply an Omen on them. They didn't get hit with the Omen, but then whenever we deal damage of that elemental damage type, we regain sorcery points. So I guess our next attack, will just go ahead with a Booming Blade here, as that's going to be one of the best options that we have for our overall damage. So Booming Blade, yeah, 62, 18, and 2 damage. Pretty crazy. And then getting ourselves into another encounter here. I'll just go to show that spellcasting also works very strongly on this. So you can just go ahead with a simple Chain Lightning with that very high hit chance because of our Arcane Acuity there. So we obviously got counterspelled. That's natural for us right now. Yeah, that does happen. We lost our spell slot, unfortunately, so that does suck. But don't fear, we got scrolls, so we can use our Odaluk's Freezing Sphere there to blow up and create that huge ice patch. Super effective. And then we can go ahead with our Blade Song Climax to hopefully finish them off by going ahead with this attack. Boom, healing ourselves and stacking up Reverberation and a bit of damage. And the thing with Shadow Blade is we got a lot of mobility with it, so we can go ahead with going with our Misty Step there to get in close and then lay down the Booming Blade, because it's going to be our most damaging option. 66, 15, and 2 damage there. And then to finish them off, we'll go ahead with that there for another 56 damage. Doing a ton of damage without much fear. This is extremely powerful, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stealth, Shadow Blade, spellcasting, it does it all. The Bladesinging Wizard multiclass with the Shadow Magic Sorcerer in Baldur's Gate 3's Patch 8. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.